Hi everybody, I'm Amy from the Cauldron, and in today's episode of Dye Time I have challenged myself to pick one of my swatches. Now when I get a new dye, I dye 10 grams of yarn to see how strong the dye is, how it absorbs, if it's a bleeder or not, and then I have these lovely 10 gram skeins left over, but I want to try over dyeing these. So I picked this one at random, which is Saffron Spice, and then I picked a dye at random, which ended up being Scarlet from DT Craft and Design. Now I can say for sure this was definitely at random, because I would not have picked this bright orange and this red to go together. They'd be nice to go together while I'm dyeing, but if it was a undyed yarn, but the Scarlet over dyeing the Saffron Spice is going to be a challenge. So what I've decided to do is dip dye this. I've got here 0.1 gram of the Scarlet dye. When I measured out the dye, I was wearing my mask and some gloves, and all the equipment I'm using is dedicated for dyeing. And this yarn has been pre-soaking in water and acid for I don't know how long. I didn't actually look at the time when I stuck it in, so probably not 20 minutes. And I'm just going to slowly dip this in. I soaked this in acid because I'm pre-soaking a whole bunch of stuff, well, 2 other skeins at the same time, and I hadn't decided if I was going to speckle or dip dye or resist dye or what I was going to do. So I just thought, put some acid in there, then I don't need to worry about acid again. There is acid in here as well. Turn this up a bit, I want it to absorb a bit quicker, but that's looking very nice. I like this. So we're going to dip this in and out. Hopefully it will be a nice gradient, but I don't know. I may have used too much of this dye. Maybe I should have gone with 0.05 grams. I went with 0.1 gram because that makes it a 1% 1% depth of shade, which means there is the equivalent of 1 gram of dye per 100 grams of yarn. Since there's 10 grams of yarn here, I need 0.1 gram of dye, if my maths is correct. Maybe. So it's starting to clear now that I've turned the heat up a bit. All right, leave it like that for a little bit, let it absorb, and then maybe yeah. Hopefully that won't cause there to be sudden jumps in colour change. But yeah, leave it like this now. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. Don't want too much movement in the water, so I'm just turning this down a bit because I don't want this to become a huge tangled mess. I'm still taking it in and out even though I've got this set up. Right, just leave that now, and I do want to preserve some of that beautiful orange, so I will not be putting all of it in until the dye bath has cleared. It's only been a couple of minutes, but you can see this water has almost cleared. There's a tiniest bit of colour still in there, so I'm going to unwind a bit more, and I'm going to just let this absorb the rest of that colour. As I said, I'm not going to put this end bit in because I do want some of that Saffron Spice colour to still come through, and this is already set, so it doesn't need to be reset, as it were. I don't need to put this in there and heat set it. Now I'm going to leave this for probably about 20 minutes or so, and then I can let it cool down. This has completely cooled down now, and there's no colour left in that water. So let's give this a rinse through. This is just cold tap water. I'm going to add a little bit of washing up liquid just to help shift any dye that might not have bound to the yarn, any extra vinegar, but this is looking pretty good to me. So I'm going to just rinse this a couple more times and then I can hang it out to dry. And here is the finished yarn, which started off as Saffron Spice. You can see there's some Saffron Spice at that end. And I dip dyed it in Scarlet from DT Craft and Design. Let's just have a look. See, Scarlet is quite a pink red, but when it is over dyeing an orange, it's a really, really nice deep red. You can see that's an amazing difference just from over dyeing that, which I think is fantastic. And it is a really nice sort of dip dyed progression. There's no lines on this. It's a nice fade from the one colour to the next, and I'm really happy that I've still got some of that original Saffron Spice there. And this is just, yeah, I'm really, really happy with how this has turned out. These colours have worked well together, and I'm really, really impressed with how different that is. I'm just amazed. I'm going to have to experiment more with layering because that's fantastic. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please do click like and subscribe to my channel. I produce a new dyeing tutorial every Monday and it's published around about 6 PM UK time. And I like to experiment with my videos. I like to mix up the techniques that I use. I like to over dye. I like to mix up dyes. I like to do all sorts of different things. So there should always be something different and interesting to watch. Thank you so much for watching.